Let me get a couple photographs here.
I need a Hardy channel. She got the ladies. So I got a distance to change.
I can tell from that. You can tell from the moment you rolled up.
She got a lot.
Last one, last two.
I like this music stand.
Yeah.
I know, I do. This whole setup, I love it.
All right, let's go.
No justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
Black lives
Matter.
Black lives
Matter.
Black lives
Matter.
Black lives
Matter.
I want to thank everybody for coming today. I'm Jesse Hamilton, the former New York State Senator, and we have many people from the community here to express their concerns about the new, diluted, watered down, ineffective 911 bill that was passed up in Albany. I had to my left Jerry from the Brooklyn Chinese American Chamber of Commerce. I have Anthony Beckford from Black Lives Matter. I got Brother Tucker here from Lady Guns Down Foundation. I have Anthony Jones, district leader in Brooklyn. I have Grant from Chicago, representing the independent Black thinkers. I have Vivian Morgan from Wingate Park Alliance. And the reason why we're here today is because 2.5 years ago, I was standing here, minding my business, handing out anti-Trump flyers across right here. And a woman walked up to me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm handing out flyers, anti-Trump flyers, pro-immigration flyers." And she told me, "Are you American?" I said, "Yes, I'm American." She said, "Well, you can't be American because you're bashing the president." I said, "Ma'am, there's something in the Constitution of America called free speech. I'm exercising my free speech." And she left. And when she left, she came back. She goes, "I'm not going to say it again. You need to leave this area because you're not American." And I said to myself, "Man, what are you talking about? I'm not handing out flyers. I'm not bothering anybody. I'm not doing anything. I don't even know who you are." She goes, "I'm calling the police." And I saw her dial 911 right here. I saw her talk on the phone. And I said to myself, what is happening? What is happening? I'm a father. I've been a community activist at that time for 22 years in the community. And this woman who I'd never seen before felt that I had no rights she had to respect. And I said to myself, if I was a young teenager or young male, and the police were to come, and she said, "That young man hit me. That young man threatened to kill me," like Amy Cooper, that young man would have been arrested. He would have been arrested, had to go through the system, and had to prove his innocence. You know, they say you're innocent until proven guilty, but for people of color, especially young black men, you're guilty until proven innocent. We all know that. And she felt that I had no rights she had to respect. She knew that if she called the police, they would come and arrest me, based on her word alone. You know, but luckily I was someone of stature in the community, so the police came here and didn't do anything and said, "Senator, we're sorry this happened." But the bill I introduced was the S9149, which has a criminal component. We cannot let a person like Amy Cooper call the police on someone and cite that she's being attacked and not get a criminal action. The new bill in Albany has no criminal action component to it. So what it's saying is that Amy Cooper was the fuse. George Floyd was the keg of dynamite. She lit the fuse. George Floyd exploded international outrage of racism, oppression, okay, systematic racism in our community. And now with the new bill in Albany, they're telling us the fuse that lit the independent struggle, the fuse that made the nation, made the world say no to racism, is not a criminal crime. You have to pay a fine. It's civil. How is that? How can Amy Cooper only be charged with a fine? This is a slap in the face to George Floyd. This is a slap in the face to all the young people who are out there on the front lines risking their lives. And Diana Richardson passed this bill. How can anybody vote for a bill with no criminal sanctions for Amy Cooper? So I just say to myself, this bill is so watered down. It's not even water. It's like vapors. It has no effect. It does nothing for anybody. And on top of that, let's say if I was a young man and the police came under this new bill, and I get arrested based on a woman saying I hit her, allegedly hit her, like Amy Cooper said, and the police come and arrest me. I go through the system. If I have to pay for an attorney, and then to get any recourse to sue Miss Amy Cooper, I had to hire an attorney now. I had to hire an attorney. So someone wrongly accuses me based on racism, based on anti-discrimination, and anti-harassment. My bill is an anti-discrimination, anti-harassment bill to make sure the Amy Coopers of the world get arrested. How can we stop systemic racism when Amy Cooper just gets a fine? We are still passing laws behind closed doors that have nothing to do with changing what's happening on the streets. We should all be outraged. We should all be outraged with this bill that Amy Cooper, who makes $170,000 a year, can call the police and scream, "I'm being attacked," when she's not being attacked. This happens all the time.
Speak on it.
The police come, I get arrested. I go through the criminal justice system. I come out, and my only request I have is to file a civil lawsuit and have to pay an attorney $3,000. The average person in Brooklyn doesn't have enough money to pay rent. Disposable income may be $500. So what did this law actually do? It protects the rights of the wealthy. So Amy can call the police on whoever she wants. The woman who called the police on me, she can call the police on whoever she wants. And we have to fight. We have to fight back and say no to backroom deals that favor the privileged. And I commend the young people in America for standing up and for fighting for what's right. It brings tears to my eyes to see the unity, the camaraderie, the integration of everybody saying this has to end. This must stop. So the people who voted for this bill, shame on you, Diana Richardson. Shame on you, Walter Mosley. Shame on you, Diana Simon, for voting for this vapor watered down bill that does nothing to the Amy Coopers of the world. We have an international struggle going on right now to make this planet, to make this country a better place for everybody. And I commend the young people who are fighting on the streets to get this done. So, study the bills, write to elected officials and say, we want a stronger bill. We're not going to be bamboozled into a bill that has no teeth. It's egregious. It's unconscionable. At this point in time, no one is fighting on no bill that's been passed for the 911 bill. Anti-discrimination, anti-harassment, has no criminal component. Amen? All right, so next we have Anthony Beckford from Black Lives Matter, and then after that we have Anthony Jones, district leader.
I am the president of Black Lives Matter Brooklyn. We've been on these streets for going on 3 weeks straight now, going very hard for the murder that happened to George Floyd. But we also have been in the streets for the longest time now, for decades, due to the injustice against our people in our communities. When things happen to people like Amy Cooper with the acts that she commit, you have to look at the fact of when it all started. Christian Cooper, who's the victim of that crime, could have been the next Emmett Till. Just a few years ago, we had Corner Store Caroline further up on Flatbush,
Talk about it.
who almost had an 8-year-old child
8-year-old child.
brutalized and murdered by the police
8
because
years
she
old.
wanted to weaponize 911.
You hit him with a backpack.
When we look at these type of things, we have to stop catering to the privilege
That's
and
right.
entitlement.
Talk about it.
We have to stop catering to those who didn't have our best belief
Correct.
going forward.
Correct.
Speak on it.
Talk about it.
We have to cater to those who are the ones who are the true victims of these crimes. Because if an officer showed up and did not recognize Jesse Hamilton, he would have been brutalized or murdered. Because you see, those are the two outcomes when it comes to you being a black man in America. Same thing could have happened to Christian Cooper when Amy Cooper called the police.
That's right.
And specifically laid out the details of her plans before she called them.
Right.
That right there is even premeditated murder in my eyes. But what happens? She got her dog back and no accountability whatsoever. Yet the NYPD say we have bigger fish to fry. The bigger fish was them brutalizing black young youth in East New York, in East Flatbush and the Flatbush for not social distancing. There is no justice when it comes to legislation that is watered down and does not address and hold accountability and enforce accountability upon those who are trying to weaponize, brutalize, and extinguish our lives. At the end of the day, anybody who puts any watered down legislation is not adhering to the demands of the people and is not adhering to the demands of the movement.
That's right.
Whether you're in local politics or whether you're in the state or even when you're federal, we the people have had enough. We have had enough. And my words today is to let them know that we will start putting your feet to the fire when you choose to not uphold to the rights of the people, when you choose to not hold accountability for our lives. Because at the end of the day, the reason we say Black Lives Matter is because you determined that we don't matter in the first place. Thank you.
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
I have another young man here, Al. Al was here 2 years ago. He worked for transit, and he couldn't believe what was happening when a woman called the police on me just for handing out flyers and being black. Just for exercising my free speech against the President Donald Trump and for promoting immigration.
Living while black.
Living while black. She called the police on me for living while black. And as Brother Beckford said, if I was an ordinary brother out here, I would have been arrested through the system for no other reason than being black. Brother.
All right. Just coming here today to show my support for Senator Hamilton and for the Black Lives Matter movement out here, because as the senator said, you know, we need to come together, we need justice, we need equality out here in these streets. We need everybody on one mind and one accord. All right, I was here 2 years ago. I was working right here at this station for MTA. Retired now. But I was right here and I couldn't believe my eyes when the lady wanted to call up on the senator. And I was like, wow, this is ridiculous. And as Senator Hamilton just said, if he was not who he was, he would have been locked up, would have been incarcerated. And that is the same thing that's happening to young men all over the country, all over the city, all over this world. And that's why we're here, and we are going to stand in alliance, and we're going to stand in solidarity and in support, and we're going to change things, all right? Thank you very much.
No justice! No peace! Next we have a good friend, Anthony Jones, district leader from Brownsville, Brooklyn.
Fight the power, Black Lives Matter. Fight the power, Black Lives Matter. Fight the power, Black Lives Matter.
Fight the power.
I just want to say that it's an honor and a pleasure to be out here to support what we're doing today. When our former Senator Jesse Hamilton was in Albany, he put together, him and some other colleagues put together a strong bill known as A3566. Unfortunately, Jesse, you weren't able to finish this mission. So instead of it now being called A3566, we can now call it A3365. It's been a whole total turnaround, and that ain't right. So we all have come in contact with someone who I would call, similar to what happened to you happened to me, and I called her Ocean Hill Susie. She happened to be walking the dog in my community, happens to be a Caucasian woman, walking a dog, and the dog was unleashed, and the dog was going in front of people's property, urinating and feces, and she didn't pick it up. So I addressed it and I talked to her about it. And she became very hostile, and the next thing I know, she picked up the phone and started calling 911. So I drove around the block because I said, you know, I'm not even going to stay here and entertain this. But I said, but what happens, I don't know what she's going to say, so it's better for me to hang around for a little while. So as I rolled back around the corner, there she is with the police. So I get out the car, and the police come over to me and says, she called 911 and said that you were following her and harassing her. I said, following her, harassing her? And I explained to the officer what she was doing, and the police officer then said to me that he was going to write me a ticket.
What?
Write me a ticket. Now, of course, he didn't know I was radical Anthony Jones. He didn't know I was the district leader Anthony Jones. He didn't know I was the former clergy council vice president of the 81st precinct Anthony Jones.
Talk about it. Talk about
He didn't know I was the vice president of the auxiliary police union Anthony Jones. He didn't know that I was Anthony Jones, former member of Community Board 3. He didn't know I was Anthony Jones, Sergeant of Arms of the 73rd Precinct. So when I started saying all this stuff to him, the other cop said to him, hold on, wait a minute now. Hold on a second here. Let me go talk to him. So when he came over to me, I went a little further, just to calm him even more down. I opened up my back trunk and I said, I'm very supportive of NYPD. And I told him about my commitment to NYPD and as an auxiliary officer, putting my life on the line without a gun like he is doing.
Talk about it.
And I opened up my back trunk and showed him my police hat and my uniform. Then he went back over to her and he said, you owe this man an apology.
Wow.
And made her apologize to me. But what happens if I had not been Anthony T. Jones, the district leader, and all that other nice stuff, and a young man walking through the community? I would have got a ticket.
Been in the system.
Possibly I would have been in the system arrested for harassment, because she said I was harassing and following her. So it's important for us to understand that this bill that they're putting together right now, I don't think that they're putting this bill together because in the best interest of the people who are going to be affected by it. In my personal opinion, it's a watered down Jesse Hamilton bill. So it's an anti-Jesse Hamilton bill because they don't want to see Jesse Hamilton get the credit for putting together a strong bill, so they got to make it a 365 where nothing is attached to him. Now, how in the heck are we going to have a strong bill with no criminal penalties?
Talk about it.
How? A civil penalty? No, because if it was the other way around, we would be in handcuffs if we make a false report against somebody else who happens to be Caucasian, who just popped up in the neighborhood and don't know the people. It ain't right. It ain't right. It ain't right. Finally, let's get this man back where God wants him to be and where he belongs, back in Albany, so he can continue what he started on behalf of his community and my community. Let's put him back where he belongs, and he belongs in Albany, and we're going to do everything we can to help him get back there so that he can then go back to Albany and do what God wanted him to do and to finish off what he started. God bless you, and let's keep the fight. Black Lives Matter.
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 That was a powerful story, brother. Which happens more often than we want to know. Next on the speaking list, a brother I've been working with for a while, Mike Tucker from Lay the Guns Down Foundation. His son was unfortunately, it was sad, it shouldn't have happened, but his son was actually killed by a police officer. That's a pain every parent should not endure, and he's taken a negative and turned it into a positive, saving many lives in our community for young black men. Thank you.
I stand here today with Senator Hamilton because for years, as I said to the mayor when I met with him and his wife and his brother, I'll tell you, on Sunday, you're seeing unrest around the world because people are tired. You're seeing unrest around the world because for many years they have been putting Band-Aids on something that a Band-Aid just can't fix. And that's the respect and the spotlight right now on injustice for people of color in America is shining bright. And that's why you're seeing what's going on. People are tired. Like I said, I lost my son for 14 years, 6 months, and 12 days. I've been fighting this fight, and we're still going through the same thing. Why? Because we have people that are supposed to care about us that don't care about us. They care what their next seat is.
That's right.
And we need to stop that. And so, standing here with the senator, I'm letting him know I have a community hub. Some young, innovative thinkers that's willing to get out here and do the work to help get the people in office that care about us. I know the senator cares about us. I remember a couple of years ago, I had a magazine called Community Hub. Same thing that I'm doing right now. And me and the senator sat down and had a conversation, and I told her we need something like this to be able to have an information platform. So people that is having problems or need answers or resources, they got somewhere they can go. The senator took that idea and turned it into something that's never been done. The first ever wellness hub in a project in America. He did that because he cares about the people. It's about the people. Stop talking at me. Stop talking at me. So right now, what you're going to see in the next couple of weeks, in the next couple of months, a lot of people is going to go bye-bye. They've been talking too much, and nothing is getting done. It's time to get things done. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure he gets back where he needs to be. Thank you.
Yes.
We're marching Sunday with the Lubavitch organization and the community. And for those who don't know, we had the Crown Heights riots about 30 years ago. And we formed a coalition between blacks and Jewish brothers and sisters. And we built this mosaic of the religions, cultures coming together. And we've never had an incident since then. And we marched, I've never seen so many Lubavitch women and men march together down Eastern Parkway. So this movement is hitting everybody. You know, doesn't matter your color, your sexual orientation, your gender. We're gonna put some from the Lubavitch community here.
All right.
On the floors. And we had another march from Wingate with Vivia. And I was surprised that some people were scared to talk and scared to chant. And it was one person, the Caucasian guy, he didn't want to chant, he didn't want to get involved, but he started chanting and he started feeling the power of the movement. And he started saying, no justice, no peace. And this white guy was walking down, it was Flatbush, no, it was Nostrand Avenue. And people started clapping. And people started like dancing with him. So, Sarah, come on, you gotta say something. Let's come on. Sarah, come on.
Sarah.
I am here joining, this is my first rally. I've been trying to do a lot of support at home because of the pandemic, but I felt like this was something that was important to come out and support everyone, because I think that these calls to the police are very dangerous, and unless we provide a law that actually penalizes these people equally, it's not going to have the impact that we need. Because what we don't need is to have these people paying money or going into the criminal justice system for making these calls. We need to have these people feel like they do not make those calls to begin with.
That's right.
And that's what is going to matter, and we need to create a punishment that actually enforces that. So, thank you.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
I did not come here prepared to speak today, but I'm happy to be speaking today because I understand as a non-black person of color that silence is violence, and that I need to be here to support my people, my black brothers and sisters here who are doing the work and who have been doing the work for a very long time. And I understand that there is no liberation for anyone unless we have liberation for black lives, and that's why I'm here to support this bill and people who are doing the work. I want to thank them, and I want to hold space for the people who shared some really powerful things today. I want to thank everyone who shared their story and who shared their vulnerability and their personal stories to effect change. That is huge, and that should not be overlooked.
Thank you. Thank you.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives. Young lady, come here. Yeah, come on. You can come on, say something. Yeah.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Well, thank you for having me up here. I know as a very privileged white lady, it is my job, my duty to amplify your voices, amplify your message, especially in spaces where you might not feel welcomed and places where you might not feel comfortable to be able to speak but I've been given that privilege, and so I'm going to use my privilege as much as I can to amplify your voices.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go. Okay.
All right.
So, we have to keep this movement moving. It didn't all start here, but here was with the 911 bill started right here at Prospect Park train station. When a woman came and with disbelief and said I had to leave because I was a black man opposing President Trump. And it's disturbing to see across America now people who are walking peacefully being attacked. You know, seeing police hit innocent people on their knees with billy clubs, tear gas. You know, it's unbelievable that we have troops on the streets attacking citizens, United States citizens. Then you go to other parts of the country, people can walk into the State House with guns, with rifles, walk up to the police, and nothing happens.
Just because they want to get a haircut.
Okay? And when black people or people who are protesting for a black man being murdered by police, there's so much force, military force, overwhelming force against peaceful protesters. So I'm wondering why come someone can go into a Capitol with a machine gun, a shotgun, and nothing happens. But then when people walk peacefully, we get attacked by police. You got tear gas, you got tanks, you got horses, dogs,
rubber bullets.
Yeah. For what?
Shame on you. Shame.
You know, there's something about people expressing their rights and saying we don't want to be murdered, we don't want to be second-class citizens, we want equal education, equal health care, equal housing, right? And we shouldn't be discriminated against because of the color of our skin. We must end systemic racism.
Yes.
And now the whole world is seeing it.
That's right. Yep.
The whole world is seeing it. I can't breathe.
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 Get your knee off me, please.
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 I can't breathe.
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 Mama help me.
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 I can't breathe.
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 Get your knee off me.
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 Because Black Lives Matter.
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 So I'm going to tell Albany, you better pass a bill if you want peace. We want justice.
No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace. We want a bill that if a person calls 911, anti-discrimination, anti-harassment, you should go to jail. Paying a fine is not going to stop Amy Cooper.
She keeps money in the pocket just for the
They're not going to stop Amy Cooper. And on the top of that, who can afford to hire an attorney to sue her?
Exactly.
She will keep you in court forever. Forever, forever, forever. So basically telling us we're going to be bamboozled again. We don't want to have a strong Jesse Hamilton bill that's addressing the facts. And with that bill, many people say, Jesse Hamilton's a troublemaker. He's starting to start trouble. He wants to have people arrested who want to just, send black men and boys to jail.
Right.
We don't have to tolerate Jesse Hamilton. And I was standing up for my people. I'll do it again and again and again. We brought coding to Brownsville.
That's right.
We brought coding so kids can make $80,000 a year. Yes, in schools in Brownsville, only 14% of the kids are reading that grade level. Okay? Why is that? Why do we have 80,000 people homeless? So after we march for George Floyd, we got to march for education. We got to march for housing. We got to march for healthcare. Right. And let's not forget, when Diana wanted to consolidate the hospital in Central Brooklyn, they wanted to close down Kingsbrook Jewish Medical Center. We're in the epicenter of the COVID epidemic. And people want to downsize hospitals in that area. And we wonder why people of color are dying.
That ain't right.
As you're closing down hospitals in central Brooklyn, you're building new ones in Park Slope. And we have the healthcare disparities right here. So why are you closing down hospitals in needed areas of healthcare and then opening up new ones where people don't need it? Because the people in Park Slope, when the pandemic broke out, they went to their summer homes. The people in central Brooklyn, we had to buckle down. You know, we can't, necessary workers, bus drivers, putting our lives on the line. You know, so we're mandatory workers. Were we mandatory or expendable? Were we mandatory or expendable? Don't give me a high title. You know, so why aren't they getting hazard pay? Why do you have people, you know, nurses' aides, home care attendants, going on the bus every day, getting on the train every day, and they say stay 6 feet apart? How can you stay 6 feet apart on the train going to work? How can you stay 6 feet apart getting on the bus? It's almost impossible. So I'm going to continue to fight. My name is Jesse Hamilton. I'm running for the Assembly in the Assembly District. We're going to keep marching no matter what happens. We have to keep this moving. And a lot of times when the camera's gone, people don't show up anymore. Everybody here, we're not part of that camera system. When the cameras are gone, we're still around.
That's right.
We're still on the ground.
That's
We're
right.
still making it happen.
That's right.
We're not chasing the cameraman.
That's right.
We're in it fighting for the people.
That's right.
So when we were in Brownsville,
That's right.
and Rashid Irving got shot right in front of me, everybody was running. Oh, you ain't running. You ran too, right? Everybody was running away from the shooting. I ran to the shooting. And as I saw the police closer to him than I was, I said, 911, a young man has been shot. And I said, I need an ambulance. But when I looked, the police were 5 feet away from him. And I didn't realize it. The police didn't want to help him. They didn't want to give him CPR. I looked across the street, I saw a firehouse where paramedics were standing outside the firehouse and did not come outside. And I'm like, what's going on here? The police are not giving him CPR. I see firefighters still standing there, not doing anything. And so when I get to him, I said, officer, he needs CPR. Blood's coming out of his mouth, he's shot in the back, he had a white shirt on and was getting saturated in blood. And he said the same similar words that George Floyd said. He said, mama, please. Mama, please. And I said, officers, you have to move. You have to move the police cars because the ambulance won't be able to get in. The police were so worried about the people watching. They had the guns out. I'm like, calm down. Whoever shot this young man is gone. He's not staying around. And when the ambulance came, they couldn't get through because they didn't move the police cars. And when they took out the gurney, everybody's saying, don't take him to Brookdale. Don't take him to Brookdale Hospital. The abnormal now has become the norm. And they took him to Brookdale, and of course he passed away. This is the same scenario, the same story that's told every other week, every other month, time and time again in our communities. And it must stop. So I went, after everything was, I went to the firehouse. I said, I saw 7 firefighters standing outside the firehouse. You saw the young man was in distress. Why didn't you cross the street? They told me contractually they're not required to respond to shooting victims in an active shooting. I said, that's bullshit. If that had been Park Slope, your ass would have ran across the street and administered first aid. So we're paying people who are not doing their jobs to save others' lives when it comes to people like us. So it's not about just putting a knee on the neck. What about the young man who needs CPR, who needs oxygen, who needs to get taken to the hospital quickly? So it's systemic. This is the first phase of what we have to do. So we passed the CPR law that every police officer and every state trooper takes CPR classes, right? And that wasn't, I made enemies there too. But it's not about making enemies, it's about doing the right thing. You gotta do the right thing no matter what. Just do the right thing. And God will be on your side, the people will be behind you. And they kept spreading lies, and they kept spreading lies about me. And I'm saying, you know what? I'm not gonna be the Mr. Nice Guy anymore. You know, we're gonna fight back and keep it real. So all you people down in Richardson, go to Mosley, Joanne Simon, pass a bill, the 911 anti-discrimination, anti-harassment bill that has a criminal component. All right?
Pass the real bill. Pass the real bill. Pass the real bill. Pass the real bill. Pass the real bill.
Pass the real bill. Pass the real bill. So I want to thank. Oh, sorry. You want to say something? Yeah.
My name is Lennon. I'm out here to support Senator Hamilton and also to support this bill. I'm here, my daughter made this sign because we told my kids about the situation with Amy Cooper. And I have a son and we're trying to raise kids who are going to be leaders, which means they're going to be outspoken. And if someone can ask another person to put their dog on a leash and have the police called, then what will happen if they raise their voice about an issue that's meaningful? And so we want to back Senator Hamilton. We want to back the cause of eradicating how black men are seen. The mere fact of using the words African American man should not be synonymous with a criminal. It should not be synonymous with evil. It should not be synonymous with something is wrong. Black men are heroes. We're role models. We're leaders. We're pastors. We are doctors. We're lawyers. We're judges. We are a critical part of this society. We're in politics. We're making changes. And we want to just change the image. We want that when a black man's name is mentioned or the words black man is used, that it's synonymized with excellence, with another human being, and not something that's wrong. So I'm fully backing Senator Hamilton and fully backing this bill to criminalize using 911 as a discriminatory way of weaponizing the police. And that's what it's about, making changes.
Jesse Hamilton equals real change. 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 Jesse Hamilton equals real change.
I want to say a story. I'm an attorney, and Grant said something. And it hit me. I was in court one day, and we're doing oral arguments, and the other attorney, he was losing the argument. And his response when he was losing the argument in front of the judge, he said, Your Honor, he said, shucking and jiving. I said, shucking and jiving? I said, shucking and jiving? I said, if you can't articulate your legal point of view, why are you going to say I'm shucking and jiving? Like I'm lying? And I lost it. I lost it in the courtroom. I said, how dare you? And I'm like, man, after a while it just builds up in you. People saying things to you, and you try to be nice, and you put it to the side, and you put it to the side, but it's like a cancer. This keeps building and building. Sometimes the young kids get upset, and they just lash out. I remember in college, we graduated, but I had a new car, my friend had a new sports car. And the first day, we're driving the sports car with the top down, we made it, Cornell University, Ithaca College, young black man, we did the right thing. Hey. In the daytime, we were all right. Once it got dark, whoop, 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 whoop. I said, wait a minute. So the first night, yes, officer, we were okay, his identification. 2 weeks later, daytime, we're partying, going to different block parties, whatever, barbecues. Once it got dark, whoop, 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 whoop. Second time, we're like, all right. Now, we're educated black men. The third time, we got stopped. We're like, yo, what's going on? We did all the right things. We're not drug dealers, but in their minds, these young black men couldn't afford this car. Well, they couldn't afford the car. It's something that goes on all the time. All the time that we have to, suck it up and navigate not getting hurt by the police. So next on our speaking list is Vivian Morgan, Wingate Park Alliance. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming and supporting Jesse Hamilton for the 43rd Assembly District. My name is Vivian Morgan. I'm a community organizer and a community activist. And I want to make sure that we get the point out to get out and vote. Also, we're here to stand up for equal rights and justice. And I want to make sure that everyone go out and vote for Jesse Hamilton, the 43rd Assembly District. Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been a great moment coming together in America. God bless George Floyd, and it's unfortunate that we have to still face racism as people of color, as a matter of educated, uneducated, and learning how to deal with it. As it happens, my family's from Brunswick, Georgia, where the horrible shooting happened with the young man, Ahmaud Arbery, right? And I'm like, wow, this happened right in the town where slaves. And I've gone to the family burial lots. And I can remember at 6 years old, going to Brunswick, Georgia. I was playing around, you know, I'm from the South Bronx, NYCHA housing, you know, got a little swagger. You know, like people like, hey, get out of here, man. I'm not talking. My father grabbed me and he shook me. He shook me so hard, it scared me. He said, don't you ever talk to a white woman like that or talk to the police like that. I'm like, wow, Dad. I mean, I never saw my father raise his voice. I never saw my father get angry, but he understood that I might be the next Emmett Till. He understood that I might be brutalized by the police. And this was over 51 years ago, and it's still vivid in my mind today. And my family's still in Brunswick, Georgia. And I'm still clutching my chest where he clutched me when I was a young boy. Because it was real for him. You know, it was real for him. Strange fruit. What we saw with George Floyd was a modern-day lynching.
Yes, that's right.
That traumatized the world. All the indigenous people said we had enough. All the young people. Everybody said we had to make this a better place. And now we see the police brutality for people of color who are exerting their rights as human beings. And I'm glad to see everybody here today. And I just want to say we have to raise our children in the better world. I don't want to have the same conversation with my son that my father had with me. I don't want my son to have the same conversation with his son. But my father said to me that you do not talk to white women like that or the police because they will kill you.
Right.
And it's 2020, we're still having this conversation. I'm Jesse Hamilton, and I'm running for the 43rd Assembly District here in Brooklyn, an area that I have represented for 26 years. As school board president, the 5th best school in New York State, the Crown School for Law and Journalism, as district leader, as the president of my block association, president of the school board. The fight will continue. No matter what happens in this election cycle, I'm not going anywhere, and we're going to make sure make this place a better place for everybody to live in, right?
Right.
Don't you worry.
Don't you worry.
About a thing.
About a thing.
'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Hey, don't you worry. About a thing. Keep worrying. 'Cause every little thing is gonna be alright. And these are the songs we have to sing to get through the pain. These are like spiritual songs, Negro spiritual songs we have to sing to navigate us through the pain that we're feeling. That we can't, you know, yell out and say what we want to say to who we want to say it to. So Bob Marley's song was a spiritual healing song. The Negro church songs are healing songs to get us through the day. Because without these type of songs and therapeutic mind things, we lose our mind. Being black is hard. Being a black male is even harder. You know, so God bless you all. We have a sign-in sheet somewhere around here.
Don't you worry.
Don't